Welcome back to Aldi's Mamia Me podcast. I'm Jen Hogan and we have a very special episode for you today, recorded live at Electric Picnic. I sat down to chat with businesswoman, singer, broadcaster and parent of two, Una Healy.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks everybody for coming along. A very big welcome, especially to my amazing guest on this special episode.
It's a very special one.
Very special episode. It's our first time at EP as well. So we are popping our EP cherry together.
Yes, exactly what we said the other day. She's like, I've never been to EP. And I was like, me neither. So we literally are popping it together.
We are doing it together. Girl power here.
Yes.
And I'm sure you all know Una, but Una is a singer, broadcaster, amazing businesswoman. If you haven't seen her shoe range, you need to check it out. Take it from someone who's been stalking her account and her shoes and dropping all the hints and all that. You need to go and check it out. And she's also a very, very proud mammy of two gorgeous children. Thank you. Thanks a million for joining us. So,
thank you for having me.
Una, you might ask, what is always the plan to be a mammy?
I think, as a child, I always even with my dolls, I was playing mammy with the dolls, that kind of way. It was kind of always, there's been a maternal instinct in there, as a child. And then, I always envisioned myself to have kids. And, growing up, I say, right, when I get to maybe 18, I might meet the man of my dreams. 25, I'll be married, have the house, have maybe two, maybe three. Doesn't always work out as you plan. Yeah. But, I did always see myself having kids. So, I had Aoife first at 30, so I got pregnant at 29, and it was very broody leading up to that. So I knew, I was like, very broody now. And then waited 2 years to get pregnant again with Tyke, and I had him at 34. All right. So
it didn't happen immediately with Tyke. Is that what you mean? When you said
no, I waited.
You waited
purposely. It was very fortunate that we planned them both and had them. And did
you get a terrible shock when they came along? It's nothing like what you expect.
But nothing the love that you have, nothing that you can never prepare yourself for that extreme amount of joy and love. And, actually going in to the hospital, literally when you're pregnant and you see this little cot next to the bed and it's empty. And it's just hard to believe there's going to be a little person. I know the person is in here now, but they're going to be in that soon. It's just mind blowing, and then they are there what? Yeah,
it is. It blows you. It's totally over. I spent my whole time. I think my daughter's here. She's here.
Look at her.
Oh, my daughter's here. And I spent my whole time from the time she was born waiting to have another, because I just thought this was the bee's knees, and that was in spite of the fact that my beautiful daughter never stopped crying. Never stopped. Never slept. Never stopped crying.
That means you never slept.
I never slept. No. I haven't slept in 22 years. I'm delirious this stage. It's been a long parent journey. I don't know. It's obviously fabulous, and it was enough to inspire me on to want to have lots of other kids. But did you have the broody thing that stayed? Because that's what I found afterwards. It was like when she came out, I kind of missed being pregnant.
Yeah.
Did you get that?
I loved being pregnant. So much so. Both pregnancies, I was actually in the Saturdays performing, doing 2 massive tours. The timing wasn't probably great, but it was for me because I loved it, because I love being pregnant. I was like, I can do everything while I'm pregnant. I can even go on tour with the girls, and I did. I was literally costume changes out on stage I think it was 4 or 5 months pregnant. And 6 months pregnant,
And
4 or 5, 6 months.
That must have been because you're tired and you.
Yeah, see, I didn't. I was in the second trimester, so I was actually had that burst of energy, and I was so all the rehearsals and my obstetrician told me that because I was very fit and healthy leading up to it. He just maintain your fitness, but keep it moderate. Don't let your heart rate get up too high. And I was just very lucky that both pregnancies went really well. I felt like I was really, people say that to you, don't think, you're glowing, you look so healthy, and my hair started to grow more. And but then when they come out, then it's you feel like you lose part of yourself, because you're used to having them all to yourself, and then they're out and you're just a bit of a shell, you kind of.
And all that fuss is all about you, isn't it, when you're pregnant? You're everybody wants to know you when you're pregnant.
The bum is so cute. And then it's they don't even look at you. They're like, let me see the baby. So I'm very conscious when I go and visit my friends or anyone that's had a baby to bring the mother a gift too, because she's just had the baby, been through all of that. And they forget that the mother has obviously been hosting this baby inside, and obviously done such a good job and they come out, so it's nice to acknowledge that as well.
And how soon did you go back to work? So then after you had your daughter?
Because I was so active while in the group, I remember, and I knew this, I consciously went back. It wasn't forced now. It wasn't a thing where I was, I could, if I'd turned around to my management and said, I don't want to, they would have been, that's your decision, but I wanted to. And I'm really, really blessed with an amazing family with my parents. My mother, she came and helped me. So she basically was there with me all the time. And after 5 weeks of having Aoife, I was back out promoting a single with the girls, flat out, dance routines, promoting, yeah.
And like, how did you manage that? Because, I certainly mentioned it before, and I know we were chatting. Was it Aoife that you had postnatal depression on afterwards? No, that was Tig, was it?
It was Tig, yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't get it the first time. I did have that, because my mother warned me about on the third day. Is it the third day blues?
Yeah.
I definitely had that feeling. I think it was when the hormones really change or they go down or something happens. And I just was really low and really just exhausted and just like, oh, what is going on? But that went away after a couple of days. But then with Tig, I found, there was a lot going on. I was back to work. I was actually doing The Voice of Ireland at the time, and I was back doing live shows after, I think it might have been 6 weeks as well.
Right, so early back.
And then we moved house. And there was the stress of moving house, going back to work. I was doing there was a lot of pressure. I put this pressure, a lot of it on myself too, but I'd never play a victim in it because I sometimes bite off maybe a little bit more than I can chew at times, and it was maybe over ambitious. But with that, then I did get a little bit of postnatal depression. I found myself just overwhelmed and just feeling really down and not myself, so wasn't sleeping properly. Well, you wouldn't with a baby anyway.
No. Especially not if she's Chloe.
Yeah. So I was just so exhausted, but I was also just feeling like sad, like really sad.
Yeah.
I never really had any depression. Anxiety, is something I would suffer from because I worry. I'm a big worrier, but never full on depression. And I just was like, I just feel really sad. Like I just want to cry all the time. I just don't know what it is. So I went in and I explained it to the GP. I was living in the UK.
Yeah.
And she's like, I think you might have a little bit of the postnatal depression. So she put me on antidepressants for 3 months. Was it 3 months or 6 months maybe? And it definitely helped me through because I was saying, we were chatting earlier how I felt a bit numb on them. Yeah. And maybe that was good to kind of numb me, to help me to not let everything fall apart. Like I kept everything together. But then I also don't like feeling numb because I like to feel things, and that's not me. So I came off them and I was okay again. Yeah. But it was a pretty tough time,
It is.
Just feeling so down,
And I'd say because you have everybody looking at you and everyone's going, how's Una managing? How's she managing being a mom? And that kind of pressure when you're in the public eye like that. Like how do you look? How do you act? How are you reacting? And I know we all talk about because parenting is fabulous and parenthood is fabulous, and sometimes you just can't believe your good luck to get to do this, to be someone's mum. But at the same time, you probably have a kind of different pressure where there's all these eyes on you and this expectation of you, and you can't maybe be seen to not cope, not publicly anyway. So did you find you had to keep it private, very, very private, even more so than you might naturally have?
See, back then was different. Now people are with Instagram, people are showing a lot more of their lives. Yeah. And they're showing everything. And they're showing the good, the bad, the ugly, the everything. Mm-hmm. Some people like to just only show the amazing things and even set things up to look better than they are. Yeah. But one of the good things about Instagram, some people will come on some days and say, you know what, I'm actually feeling really bad today, and I'm having, it's not everything's perfect all the time. Mm. But back then, that was before while I was in the Saturdays and having the kids and that, it was sort of pre-Instagram days. Yeah. So the only time that you would get any intrusion from like the outside or the press and stuff like that was where the paps would be waiting outside for you to come out and to see what you look like, looking horrendous, coming out on your first buggy trip with a baby. And that was really stressful, because you wouldn't be feeling very well.
Of course not, no.
They used to stalk me outside the house, wait to get pictures. Whereas now, people have the control themselves. They can put the pictures up, and then paps aren't really a thing anymore, But I remember I'd put myself under a lot of pressure because when I had Aoife, I had her in March, and then I got married in June. Okay. So I was like, and I hadn't put on a lot of weight with her anyway, but I did go on this diet plan and everything, and I lost an awful lot of weight really quickly, actually. So I wouldn't advise that.
Yeah.
It's to these crash diets. It's the only time I ever did a diet, and it was just, yeah. It was too short a window. That's another thing. See, sometimes I do that, biting off more than I can chew. And that was probably one of those times. It's like, no, I need to do it. I need to get married. We get married. We do this. We do that. We do everything. But it's like, no. Sometimes you can't do everything.
It's funny, even as you say that, because I was thinking of the chats we had there earlier on, and you were talking about having chilled kids and you not being chilled necessarily.
They're so chilled. They're like, I don't even know, are they mine? And then, but like, I get reminded all the time that they are mine because they look a lot like me. Yeah. So if it wasn't for that they look like me, I don't think people would believe they're mine. Because they're really, really relaxed, and they don't get stressed, or sometimes in the morning, like every mother, when you're running around trying to get everything ready, like getting the school lunches ready, and sometimes putting the wrong lunchbox in the wrong bag, and going, well, have you brushed your teeth, have you put your shoes on, have you done this? But they understand that that's not me angry at them. I'm just trying to manage the situation and get them to school on time,
I had a real smug moment there earlier this week. I went and treated and all. I thought I was the bee's knees. I got my kids to school on time, and we didn't forget a school bag. And these are the sort of like mini achievements that are X, the app formerly known as Twitter, worthy. We put it up there, and I thought I was doing fabulous, and then I forgot to collect them. So it's that kind of constant chaos, isn't it? Like I
got them there, and then it's like, oh, what? How did you forget? Did you forget?
I literally completely forgot. I was sitting there and not a clue like that they were supposed to be collected, and hadn't even dawned on me because all summer, I'd done my bit.
Yes,
I had safely delivered them.
A new routine, you see. That was the thing. Yeah,
safely.
The school run routine goes out the window in the summer, obviously. Yeah.
And ahead of me running down to the school there, like the run of shame. Then and you're running.
The last one's waiting at the gate, like waiting.
Yeah. I'm the mammy of so many kids. I can't remember to take care of them properly, and you feel the judgment when you go down and you have so many. So I understand that pressure trying to get them of the kind of chaos, and it's a real like intense thing, even in the more just general life.
It's all go, but like you have to I really have to say I love a routine. So I was actually happy to see that they were going back to school, because I set my alarm for the same time every morning. I take 10 minutes to just wake up. I don't hit the snooze because I like to just wake up and just kind of gather my thoughts. Don't look at your phone, put it away, and just kind of start praying actually as well. Just say a few prayers.
Start praying,
yeah, because it's more like a gratitude. Kind of appreciate what you have, and ask for what you want, and help you throughout the day and all that. And just,
not forget your kids on the school run.
Don't forget the kids from school, and I take the time. I've stopped looking at my phone in the morning because I feel we're too interested into seeing what's going on in the world without even getting our own thoughts together. And then I actually would say that's like a great tip for anyone or for any parent, just to get that time for yourself. Yeah. If it's only 10 minutes, and I find it really useful anyway. I've started to do that.
And come here, how do you manage the working? Because you've such an unpredictable job in lots of regards. Like you don't necessarily work there 9 to 5 hours and stuff. You have 2 kids, and I know we're going to touch on co-parenting in a few minutes, but you're managing a lot of the time. It's you and the kids. How do you do it?
I don't know. That's the question. I actually don't know. I just do. You manage some way. I do, obviously, with the help of my parents, like I said. But I always plan. I'm very good at planning. So you have to do that when you're a mother, because you've got your life, you've got their lives. You have to plan to make sure that everything is taken care of them. Number one. Yeah. You know exactly what they're doing for the week. All the sports they're doing. All the clubs they're going to, friends' houses. Have all that organised, and then. And then you have your own diary as well to manage too, so you're kind of juggling both, And like I said, then my parents, like here today, first question I always get asked, so who's got the kids today? Do you know what I mean? But obviously there is childcare, out there, and mine, fortunately for me, is my family. So my kids are being raised primarily by myself and my parents, which I'm really lucky to have that. That's our family unit at home.
It's funny you said that, and I know I'm one of the people who actually asked you who has the kids today. And if I was interviewing Ben, I would not say to Ben, who's got the kids today? No, and it's that whole psyche, isn't it? That we have, have you seen to your first responsibility? You are a mom. And we know that. But it is that whole...
I think it's probably just an innate kind of thing that we have, that we just assume, if the dad, obviously the mother's at home looking after them. But now, times have changed so much now. And, it's just... obviously that women are working now and they have to provide for their families too, and should and are entitled to, and to have a life outside of being just a mother. We're more than just that, we're
I know for a long time, I don't know if you ever have that mum guilt, but like it absolutely cripples me. It still does. From the time I had my first right up to now, like with 7, I still find I feel so guilty if I'm not there, if I'm not, they don't have my full attention, if you're roaring at them or you're doing whatever. And that's, and the dads they seem to manage to park that. And maybe it is, I know things have improved and I think we're better. And we know there's that expectation, understanding that women work too. But there is still, it's that back to that thing, isn't it? That pressure that we put ourselves under again, and we're always expecting. We want to be everything to everyone.
I manage my time, like I said, very well, and I make sure that I'm spending plenty of time with the kids and quality time with them, and plan lovely events and holidays away with them and things like that, so that I'm always very present, you know, and like 95% of the time I'm on the school run every morning with them, on the school run every evening with them. In the evenings with them, doing their homework with them. You know, like sometimes I might look on the outside, some people will say to me, God, you're so busy, you're here, there and everywhere, but that's Instagram for you as well. It might look like that, but like realistically, I'm actually home at most of the time, you know. So because I have my radio show, which actually I can record, I'm luckily able to do it from home. Right. And I've like, all the other little bits that I'm doing, like I just try and manage it as best as I can so that I never feel like I'm neglecting my children at all.
And then all that kind of, that marathon lack of sleep training then finally comes in handy when you get used to functioning on little sleep and get your work
I try to go to bed when they go to bed now.
Do you?
Yeah. And I actually love getting it. It's just no nicer feeling than getting into bed. You know, because I put them to bed at 9. I know that seems quite late. Some people put their kids a lot earlier, but
there's no judgment here, not from someone who would love to get their kids to bed at 9.
So they get a good decent 10 hours sleep, you know, which is I think good. And then I just go to bed myself then, and try and get at least 8 hours sleep, you know.
Can I ask you, I suppose, if we were to go back, because I know we mentioned Ben there, and that you are co-parenting with Ben. When you first split up with Ben, because you mentioned again the support that you have from your family, were you in London? Is that where you were living at the time?
In Northampton.
Oh, Northampton. So how did you kind of cope, and how did you manage all that in the aftermath? Because there was a lot of focus and a lot of attention on you.
I think like anyone that goes through a divorce, doesn't matter whether you're in the public eye or not, it doesn't make it any easier or any harder. It's the very same. Yeah. And I have a lot of friends who have gone through it as well, and it's just so traumatic. Like it's so traumatic. All I can say is, you just have to brace yourself for it. And anyone that is ever that might go through it, like you'll get through it, but it takes a while. Yeah. And then you just have to go, right, where am I now? How am I going to do this? But see, Ben then had found a contract in New York to sign to play rugby over there, which meant then that would take him to the other side of the world, basically. So I had to figure out how I'm going to co-parent with someone who's in another country. Yeah. And we've just managed it that, so basically he has full access to the children. He can see them anytime he wants. I always would recommend for anyone as well, allow the other parent to see them as much as they want, you know, and manage it as best you can. But because he doesn't live down the road, I can't do this, you know, every other weekend, or it has to be, right, we'll get in touch and I'll say, when are you going to see them next? And I'll say, the summer. And then it's basically they spent half their summer this year with him. So they were in New York for a month. Yeah. And then they might see him again at not Easter, Halloween and Christmas, and just kind of, holiday times. Yeah. So that's how we do it. But I always just say to him, you know, whenever you want to see them, they're here. If you want to come see them, you can have them. If you want to take them away while it's their holidays, you can do that too. But as long as my children are loved and protected and happy, that's all that matters, you know.
Did you not find it? I mean, I saw some of the pictures of when the kids came back, and what was it like over the summer? Because I'd say there's probably great, you know, woohoo, have the house to myself at the beginning.
As soon as they leave, I'm like, woohoo, yeah. I always go on a big night out. You know, that's the first thing I do. And then I'm like, woo, and then I wake up the next day going, oh. And then after about a couple of weeks, I start to feel really empty, actually, and just feel like I'm missing part of my body without them. It's just not this a real maternal thing, I think, and just the house is so quiet. It's not the same. It's not home anymore without them, and I keep in touch. Aoife's 11 now, so she's like on a cool now on Snapchat, and she'll and I always send her messages, love you, miss you, and she goes, miss you, mommy, and all the love hearts and all that. So. And then Tyke just peeps his head in on the odd Snapchat call. But she, literally every day we'd speak to each other. But they had an amazing time. They were being brought out. They were it was like a dream. There's so many ups to it as well. I know there's a lot of downs, but there's a lot of ups to it too. not many kids can say they had like a whole month over in New York having an amazing time going to all these fun places, and they were spending very much quality time with their family over there. They have a little sister over there too, and a stepmother. So that's just our dynamic. Everybody's family unit is very different. Ours, that's just ours, and you just have to manage it the best you can and accept it. Took me a while to kind of get over you feel a bit bitter and a bit like, oh, why did this happen to me? Or, oh, look at all these family units, they're so lucky, especially in Ireland, because the divorce rate in the UK is 50%, but here in Ireland, you come back to Ireland and no one's divorced, and you feel very like, is it just me? So, because like when I was back in the UK, so many of my friends were all in the same boat. Like, I've found it's not so much here, but I have really just come to terms with it now. And I see how happy my children are, and they love Ireland and they love Thurles, and it was the best decision I ever made to move back home during the pandemic, because I was over there on my own with the two kids in the UK, and it was like 3 months during lockdown where barely left the house, could only just go on bike rides, and it was just horrendous. So I was like, I have to come home. So that's when I came back, and I've stayed, and I see myself staying here now. Yeah.
Is it weird though living back now, like where you grew up, I suppose, when you think about it, you're living where you grew up, you probably have your own childhood memories, now your kids are growing up there. Like, do you find that maybe you're influenced by the sort of things from your own childhood and maybe do things differently or make...
The town is quite different now than it was when I grew up. It just looks different, as different industry. It was a very different town, I think, but... it's a bit cooler now, I think. It's got like...
Thurles is cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Let that be on the record.
It's great. I'm always pro Thurles anyway. It's just like the heart of Ireland, I call it, because it's like literally in the centre. I find it really great to be able to move around the country, and it's big in the GA, the home of the GAA, so it's great for Tig. He's big into hurling, and there's lots of facilities there for them for sports and activities, and they love it.
And with both you and their dad, I suppose, because probably people might not know this, that you were really into the swimming. Like you were an All-Ireland swimmer, weren't you, at one stage?
So I, as a child, it was like always like, I'm bored. So Mammy sent me down to the swimming club, and I turned out to be actually a really good swimmer and trained really hard and won the All-Ireland. That was my goal. I was like, I'm going to win the All-Ireland. I did. So then I quit that. That's when I got into music, actually, after that. So... no, they don't. They can swim. Yeah. They've learned how to swim safely, so that's really important. Like but they're not. They don't seem as keen as I was. But I'd never pushed them into anything that they don't want to do. You're
not the mammy on the. Is there a tiny video on the sidelines going?
Oh, there will be now especially when Tig starts playing more and more games and stuff. I don't like to feel like I wouldn't be a pushy parent. I would support them on whatever they want to do. I'll always support them and encourage them. But make sure they get their homework done. That's another one. That's a tough one. Do your homework now. No, actually, Aoife, who's 11, she does her own homework. Don't even have to ask her, whereas Tig's a bit more lazy. He'll just be like, in 5 minutes. Yeah, and he wouldn't do it at all, only if I make him do it, that way.
I'm working on that one. I'm trying to get rid of... That's my goal in life. My goal in life is to get rid of homework for kids. Most pointless exercise ever. We have the same battles as you at home. But you were trained to be a teacher, didn't you? So...
Oh, I did. Well, I spent 3 months in Mary I doing primary school teaching, and then I left that, but because I always had the passion for music and I knew what I wanted to do, but I was trying to find these things to fall back on, and they just weren't for me, and I tried nursing for a bit as well, and that didn't work out so I just decided I'm going to go now, try the music for a few years, and. Yeah, that's I followed my dreams.
Did your parents, because my young lad, he wants to play for Liverpool, like he's just convinced this is the goal, he's going at 17, and we're going, yep, that's right, that's what we're doing. And we kind of humour him, and we're going along, and maybe he will do, but of course Mammy mode is there going, of course you'll be getting something else behind you in case it doesn't all work out.
Just something to fall back on.
So did you have, when your parents, you were there driven off, you want to go and do music, were they concerned?
That's probably why that I decided to do these courses, like there were proper vocations as well. But they knew that they supported me then when I decided. I said, no, there's enough of this dropping out now. I said, obviously, I just need to go and do what I want. I will get it out of my system. And my mummy said, give it 5 years, and if it doesn't work out, then maybe go back again. But it did. Luckily, I got my break in the Saturdays within the 5 years. So that's...
It's probably it was a hard slog though, like at the beginning, you hear of so much rejection, and I know you experienced that yourself. Like how do you keep the enthusiasm going when that's what
I think that's part of the whole thing, because I love like a challenge, so it's like you just have to start from the very, very bottom, and you get loads and loads of rejection and loads of knockbacks, but you're like, no, I'm actually going to come back and I'll show you. I'll be better next time, you know? And that's what I did. And I got like so many auditions, didn't get through. And I went back and I practiced and practiced and practiced. I was literally in the kitchen or the sitting room, wherever around the house. I used to play the guitar like 10 hours a day, sometimes just singing, writing songs. Then I started playing in pubs and clubs and anywhere that would have me. So when I went back, I was ready, you know, because I wasn't ready before, you know. Sometimes when you're younger, you have notions. You're like, yeah, I'm ready now. You know, but I wasn't. I wasn't good enough, you know. And I think that without that experience, you just have to go out there and work really hard. You know,
I'm always like,
and it was really fun though too. I loved it. I wouldn't swap it for anything. All the gigs that I did and gigging around and literally playing in pubs with 2 or 3 people. Yeah, sometimes packed and they'd be spilling drink everywhere. You know, yeah.
And when you did get like your break and you're in the Saturdays and everybody knows who, like, did that just feel really surreal?
Oh, I just felt so blessed and so lucky. I was like, I realized how lucky I was to get into that group because. You know, groups are put together all the time and sometimes they might not make it, you know, but for a group to put together, manufactured as they call it, you know, we did all audition, you know, and for it to work and to pick 5 girls who actually got on as well and really good songs and really just, lovely team of people that we worked with. Like it was a huge, big team around us. It wasn't just us. We had lovely hair and makeup people, our styling, our management, the record label. It was just dancers and it was like a whole big factory of fun, you know.
Did the kids really understand, or did they appreciate and realise what Mum did, or
no? Because it was just, I guess, it was a chapter of the Saturdays was a chapter of my life, you know, and it'll be one that I'm so proud of. They don't think anything of it because it's like there's loads of like memorabilia and things that are hanging up around the house. So I've just to get them up because they're collecting dust, and Mammy hung up a few of them. And they don't bat an eyelid at them. They don't care. Like they're not fazed by it at all. I'm sure that they one day might get excited about it, but they don't. They're not.
No, it's just
they don't care.
Yeah. You don't care. Which is really like, I mean, the cheek of them. The cheek of them.
I know. I think they're right. Like, like so what? She just dressed up fancy and sang a few songs.
Mom's a pop star. Like, what are odds? Yeah.
No, they'd be cringing at that. They would not think that at all. No, they're not. Yeah, no, they're very, they're lovely little people, you know. I'm so proud of them.
You mentioned your little one being on Aoife being on Snapchat. Now, obviously, you're being on social media too. Do you find that embarrass them? Like mine die. They just... well, maybe the older ones not so bad. The teenagers, the younger teen, like it's like
I haven't got my head around TikTok I'm really bad at TikTok.
So you haven't
I'd say
there.
it would have been brilliant on it years ago, you know.
Yeah.
I can see why it's exciting, you know, when you're younger, but I find it just too time consuming or something.
There's so many apps, like there's so many you can do.
Whereas I wouldn't be a very active you know, I don't post every day like some people post. You know, when you see the stories and it's like ... But you might see the odd day where it will be going, she's on one today, like, and I literally will, and then I'll disappear for a month maybe, and it's like, so some people literally message me going, are you okay? It's just like, I'm living my life. I don't put everything up, you know.
And do you find, like, because again, once you get kids who are into that whole social media age and is that a bit of a nightmare for you to navigate? Like, I presume there'd be people who would you'd have to kind of maybe warn Aoife to be extra careful because...
Oh, she's very aware of all of that. Yeah, I've given her a few lectures on all of that, like, and watched videos of all of that, of like what kind of predators are out there and how to not be careful who you speak to. Even more so
probably because of who her mum is. You know, people who are going, you know,
she's not got she's no social media like where it's her, because she's still under 12. I think it's 12 or 13, so she hasn't actually got, like, she's a private page just for me and her to communicate, so she hasn't put anything out there. But I would be very like monitoring all of that. Yeah.
It's kind of the big dread, isn't it? It's the really hard part because you can watch every part of their lives as much as, well, within reason when they're younger. I'm not sure that they're
they don't want any, much attention or anything. Aoife said she did say she wants to be an actress.
Right.
Aoife said that. And Tyke said he's big into wildlife. So he said he wants to be like a vet or something in wildlife, or a hurler. Yeah. You know, so that's
the difference between the two explanations.
So that's what they say at the minute. You're like, when I was younger, you could ask me what I wanted to be, and it changed every 5 minutes. You know,
is it different being a mom? Is it different to what you expected?
I don't know. I didn't really know what to expect, you know. And I think every child is different, and everyone parents differently. I even see when I'm out and about how other people speak to their children, and I know it's very different to how I'd speak to mine, you know. Yeah, it's just I see mine. They're at the age now where I think they're like a little bit more like my friends, you know. Like I chat to them on a more kind of like, I don't speak to them like children. I talk more kind of like, I'm not like, I wouldn't be. Do you know, I wouldn't know how to put it, like, but I wouldn't be like that kind of mumsy mum, you know, going, now Taggy, put that over there, and see if you know, it's like I speak to them just like I would of my friends, you know.
And do you ever, like, that, I know I've heard people say that before about having, you know, seeing their kids as their friends. Do you find that hard? And how do you maintain a kind of a friendship and be mum as well and be in charge? Like how do...
Oh, I can raise the voice when I need to, you know, and they know what to do, because Granny's a real pushover, you know. And she was well able to put the skids under me when I was younger.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't it? I see that with my mother too. I say this to my kids, right? Because their nana is fierce soft with them, right?
So soft.
And it was a totally different story. Like, was your mum the same? Yeah, it was not the pushover at all when we were growing up.
Oh, so different. But they change, and then they become they become big softies, and
they can hand them back.
And then this thing, and they hand them back. And but I like, so when I'm not around, some nights, if there's nights that I have to be away, they'll be up till midnight sometimes. I'm like, and they've school the next day. I'm going, how did you not go to bed for Granny? She said we could stay up a bit later. It's like, versus me, it's like 9 o'clock, right? Out to bed now. And they go, yeah, you know.
So you're managing to.
They always do. They'll do what I tell them. They're very obedient. And I was saying earlier on as well, they're really very good manners, you know. I always have taught them how to always say please and thank you and all of that as well. So yeah.
And would you ever feel like, supposing you were in Aldi and one of them threw a wobbler, did you ever feel that kind of pressure? That like, if
I actually think it was in the UK, and I think it might have been coming out at Aldi. I have a vivid memory of coming out on the footpath. And she, when she was 2, went terrible twos, and she had that tantrum where she lay on the ground and started screaming and kicking. And it's so embarrassing, and people walk past and kind of look at you and give you a dirty look. That's why if I ever see that going on, I empathise so much with people, because you know, it's nothing you can do.
Isn't it? It's the worst.
Oh, it's so embarrassing.
I remember it happening to me one time on my child. I won't identify her gender for Chloe's getting it. Sorry, Chloe, but it was you on this occasion. And she threw a wobbler, and she was only very small, and she was only 2 in fairness. But I was very heavily pregnant as well. And I remember thinking, I'm going to have to leave that child on the ground, because I cannot bend down. She's just going to have to stay there now, because I'm out here, and that was it. But it's in that moment you are.
I know. Have you ever been on a plane with a woman that threw a wobbler?
Yeah.
Because you're in such a confined space as well, and everyone just looks at you.
The dagger looks.
So sorry.
The dagger looks.
So sorry. Yeah, there's nothing I can do. You know. Yeah, but
we're not really very sympathetic, though. I mean, I just keep seeing all these surveys and all these kind of queries going out, going, "Would you pay extra for a child-free area on a plane?" And I'm telling you, I'm judging everybody who says yes, because it's not like, it's no crack for the parents either, who are sitting there.
And people have to get around and want to go on holidays and all of that.
And you're doing
I actually had my kids had their first experience of flying alone actually this summer. So I was very reluctant. So Ben told me that one of the airlines do this service where they you check them in, you fill out all the forms, and then they chaperone them across. And I was just like, I was like, I don't really want to. I think a parent should be with them. But he convinced me. He said, no. And then I actually spoke to a friend of mine's friend who works for an airline. She said, it's a really good service. They're so well looked after. They'll be in their element. So I asked them, I said, are you happy to do that? And they're like, oh, yes, so we'd love it, you know. And I gave them a few £few to go in. To, like, I couldn't go through security with them. So once they went through, then they were like, went in and bought loads of sweets. And then they were like, Eva was doing all these videos and sent them to me afterwards going, and she actually loved the plain food. She thought it was yummy. Like, it looked horrendous, but she was like, yeah, look at this yummy food. And I was like, well, I cook you dinners, you don't eat it. And that literally looks like a dog's dinner.
And she could torment you at all that she was buying as well.
Yeah, so they were fine. They're 8 and 11 now. Yeah. So I would not have, because there was a woman that actually, when they dropped them back, she said she had just chaperoned a 4-year-old on their own. I thought that was very young. That was a bit too young. But, you know, everyone's situation is different. This, you know.
Did you have one of those kind of Home Alone moments? Because that's what I suppose. The minute you said that, I was thinking, all I'm thinking of is Macaulay Culkin getting on the wrong plane and heading to...
No, so you stay in the airport until you literally see that the flight is taken off and walk up to the desk and they go, yep, flight is gone. So then you can... And then as soon as they land, then you get the text to say that they've arrived. So you have no worries.
Too many Christmas movies for me, I think. That's the fear is.
I know what the Home Alone feeling is like. It's not not the same.
See, I think because I didn't do it a plane, but I was on my way to Bray one time, and I was in the transit. I was in my van driving along, all the kids in the back, and when we were a fair bit there, I was calling to different kids to ask them questions, and I kept calling my third child, and he wasn't answering. And I'm like getting really like agitated now. Will you just answer me? Blah, blah, blah. And then a little voice pops up from one of the young kids going, he's not here.
Oh no.
I left him in the house. I locked the door and left him in the house.
Stop.
And went to Bray without him.
Oh,
now,
no.
to
Was
this,
he all right?
He was grand. He was grand. To this day, though, he still goes, Mom, is that you? You know, like,
yeah.
She comes out at the end of the movie. But it is, one of the...
fair play to you. You had 7 kids.
Well, but you're still supposed to remember them all. Like they kind of get a bit peeved, you know. If you kind of if you use that as an excuse at them, they go, yeah, but like that doesn't work, Mom. Like that doesn't wash. You're supposed to remember all of us, you know, and like not get annoyed at people when they're actually really locked back in the house and stuff. But anyway, you did not have that moment. You did not have your home alone moment.
No, they were safe. They were like, they were up in the air.
That's kind of a good way, I suppose. Good independence for them too.
They're good like that, and I think it's important as well. They never had that separation anxiety feeling. Like so, when they were younger as well, I sent them to preschool, and I thought that was good as well for them to get to like bond with other children and be used to being away from you, not to mollycoddle them too much. You know,
it's trying to get the balance right, isn't it? Because that's hard. You know, when you have some kids and they just like. They're so independent and they're so capable and they go out there, and then you have those kids who...
They can be a bit messy though, I have to say. I have to give out to them for like leaving things on, you know, throwing stuff around on the ground. But they get that from their father though, not from me.
No, absolutely.
They can be quite messy.
All vices blamed on the dads.
Yeah.
It's the way it has to go.
It's all his fault. Although, in fairness, he is quite like... quite laid back most of the time. Like I wouldn't say he's an anxious person. So maybe they get that from him too, which is a good thing, I think.
And are you still anxious?
Would you say you would be? Because be a warrior, you know. Because I want everything right, you know.
So is that not because you know it's non-stop worry being a mom anyway? Like,
anyway,
you know,
yeah. But you have to be.
Yeah.
Because you know, you just want everything to be right and make sure that everything goes well for them, and
So come here, tell me about what you're doing now. Tell me about what you're doing and how you're managing it now with the juggling.
Busy few days. I'm going to be back here at Electric Picnic on Sunday with the girls, the Irish Women in Harmony. Mm-hmm. There's 18 of us singing on the main stage, opening the main stage on Sunday. Right. So I was in rehearsals with the girls yesterday, and it's just lovely. I was with the girls yesterday in the harmonies. Like there's like 3-part harmony layered with vocalists doing 2-part of the melody, and it's just I'm really excited for it. It's going to be amazing. So that's something to look forward to on Sunday.
But what are you doing, like, I suppose, in the bigger picture, career-wise? Tell me about what you're doing now. How are you managing that?
I still do my radio show and still do music. I just had a single out a couple of months ago, so I'm writing new music as well. So I want to stay active in that. Got a couple of musical projects coming up later in the year. And I'm also taking part in the Panto this year in the National Stadium.
I heard it. That must get you real kudos points to the kids now, real.
So I did some filming for that the other day. I actually have been looking into doing some acting, actually. I did a course with Bow Street Academy. I did some work there.
Are we going to see you pop up in Fair City, Una Healy?
You never know. Do you know what? I was actually in Fair City years ago. I was an extra. I was an extra in Fair City a few times, yeah.
Were you in McCoy's?
I was in McCoy's and I was having the chat. You know, when you have to fake chat and so you just go like, and
go, I hate having to do this.
And I used to love that. And then once I was a special extra because I got to have, I think I was in the bistro and I was like laying down the coffee and goes, there you go. And I was like,
you're like Tracy in EastEnders.
So many of the people there like actually feel they're going to be discovered. Like, you know,
that was your big moment.
You know,
big moment, big notion. Well, in fairness,
you never know, but you have to start somewhere.
You have to start somewhere, and then you end up on the Saturdays. You see,
I actually really loved it though, because it was like it was quite easy, just hanging around all day, just going in, pretending to be in the pub, and then going home again. Yeah.
You're big into your health and your fitness. Now, how does that work with the kids? Like, as in, are you... Because, kids like junk food. And like, I know we're joking there about...
I do too as well. Junk food, like a treat. I do like...
A treat, singular?
Like a spice bag or something like is my favourite.
Okay.
I love a spice bag. But no, this is the thing, is why I say I love routine, because once they're back at school, like when I've dropped them to school, I literally go to, I've just got a little small gym in my house, a few weights and things like that. And I just do a circuit every day, go for runs. Well, he started running again because I had a bad stress fracture actually. And walks. I've got a little puppy, a little rescue dog that we rescued a few months ago. So I take him on loads of walks. I just keep active as much as I can.
And do the kids, are they kind of conscious? Are they deliberately active, I suppose, in the same way that you're there on health?
Well, they're active in that they, like, I walk them to school every morning, so they have to walk. I only get the car out if it's really lashing rain, you know. So, and then they do sports in school. So,
and do you have them doing music as well?
They're not
Are they not?
No,
even though
I don't want to force it on them. Like, they don't. And Aoife gets quite embarrassed if I ask her to sing. But I can hear Tyke. I hear him singing along to things, and I can tell he's a really good singer. And then when I ask him to do it, he won't. But he did get a solo in his communion. Okay. Oh, and he sang like a. The Lord is my shepherd. Da 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 da. Can't remember what one it was. I was proudest.
Oh, there's nothing like it. There is
nothing like communion. Even just
like
watching them going up getting the communion, I was like, proudest moment.
Oh, there's nothing like it. There's been lots of ugly crying on my part over the course of parenting. Every time they're so proud of me. Here too. Or she sang.
I actually want to cry.
Oh, total ball and total make a holy show, and I'm like,
I know, but all the parents feel the same though.
They do.
You know, it's a really special day. So they both have had their communion now. So I'm like, oh, that's sad. But
confirmation, loads of other occasions.
But even, will be,
even like with your family history, because it's not just you. You're not like the only musical person in your family. Sure, you're not. Your uncle.
Oh, my uncle Declan. Declan Nerney. He's always been such an inspiration to me. You know, like a bit of a mentor. You know, over the years. So and he's still gigging. You know, I'm really proud to say, still gigging 4 or 5 nights a week. You know, so. He's had a long career and he loves it, so it's in the family, all right. Yeah.
And come here, you know, like when the kids are doing things like that, so in school or whatever else, and you find out, you know, that maybe they're going to be singing or maybe they'll have a part in something, and they're Una Healy's kids, right? So there's that. And do you ever find them when you're having, like, if you're chatting with the teachers and stuff, can you be Una Healy from Thurles, or are you always Una Healy?
Always Una from Thurles, because I grew up there. So anyone in my hometown only remembers me from coming up, being at home, growing up there, going to school there, going to all the discos there. You know, there's nothing celebrity about me in my hometown, and I love that because it's a lovely town to live in.
There's nothing like Irish people to keep you in check. Sure, there's not.
Exactly. Don't be getting notions there. You'd be given no notions whatsoever. You'd be brought down a peg or two if you had, you know. And I would come home so often as well. Like, even while I was over for 13 years, I lived in the UK, and anytime I was home, everyone would remember me from home. So it's like they'd be proud, like, and say it's great that you're doing so well and that, but don't be getting ahead of yourself now. I'm like, no, don't worry, I won't.
None of that. Come here, I want to ask you a couple of questions to put you on the spot. I want to see now how we get on. That's right.
I always answer these wrong.
Okay. There are wrong answers. There are no wrong answers. It's only you to answer, so it's all good. So your kids don't eat anything. What's your go-to meal to make? What's your speciality?
Well, one that I can get them all to eat is a spaghetti bolognese, because she likes spaghetti bolognese, I like spaghetti bolognese, but he doesn't like the sauce. So what I do, a really good trick is the air fryer. I love the air fryer now.
Do you? I think it's a con. I think it's a con.
It's not a con. I use it all the time. The Ninja. Like, I'm not even advertising it, I guess I paid for it. But actually, it was a Christmas present from my parents. But it's basically, all it is a small oven that cooks everything faster, you know? And so I get the mince, and I make little meatballs. And I put them in the air fryer, and they come out like cooked. Then I cook the sauce separately, and then I put his without sauce, and then ours with the sauce, and that's kind of like how I make the meatballs for us all. That's one meal I can actually make all in one.
Spag ball.
Like a spag ball.
Done different ways.
Yeah. That's my way of doing it anyway, yeah.
If you could have written any song at all, what would that have been?
If I could have written any song at all, it would have been a Christmas song. Obviously, you know, because you wouldn't have to work for a day in your life after that.
That's it.
You know?
Live off the royalties.
Like all I want for Christmas or something. No, but if I could, one that I'd be so proud of writing, if I could have written one song, it would be Man, I Feel Like a Woman, Shania Twain.
That is a pretty cool song, isn't it?
What a song.
That is, yeah.
And she's celebrating 25 years since that album came out. 25 years. And if that song came on now or anywhere around the whole festival, people would still react to it the very same, even if not even more than they would.
Oh, yeah.
It's a classic. It's one of those timeless songs that would be around forever. Let's go, girls. Yeah, it just puts you in the mood straight away. You know, you're like, woo.
We have to go. Okay, funniest parenting moment.
Well, I wouldn't say it was funny, but embarrassing parenting.
Go on. We're here for the embarrassment.
It actually happened on the first day back. So, you know the app that the parents have now, the Aladdin app?
Oh, yes.
So I don't know if any parents here have to go through the Aladdin app, yeah? And my two kids are in two different schools because Aoife's in the girls' school and he's in the boys' school. And I hadn't logged out of one to see what was happening in the other. I knew they were both back on Wednesday, but I hadn't actually read the memo, and it said, first day back, full uniform. Because Aoife's school, they've actually got all tracksuit now. They've done away with the uniforms. There was a vote in for that.
Right.
But Tyke's schools still have uniforms on, so it's tracksuit Wednesday and Friday. I thought it was all great, going, if everything all prepared, if the tracksuit laid out, everything. So we're walking down to the school, I looked around, I saw all the boys in their little red jumpers, and I was going, oh no, he's in a tracksuit. And then when I walked back, I opened it up, the app, and I saw the memo saying, so he was the only boy in the whole school with the tracksuit. So stood out like a sore thumb. I was feeling so bad all day, like, on the poor thing, he's probably going to get bullied now, like, for that. But the lovely thing about it is he came back, and he wasn't even one bit upset.
Yes,
I said, they have a great attitude, children these days. Because if that was me years ago, I would have been mortified, and I would have been so angry at my parents for doing that. And the kids would have teased me as well. Yeah. He said, no one said anything. He was like, nah, it's grand. He said, happens all the time. I was all right. Yeah, he said, so he didn't. So thank God, it was all right. But I was more embarrassed. Like, I felt terrible the whole day.
Did you remember to collect him from school?
Oh, another thing, I hadn't checked. It was his first day was a half day, and only Friday I checked out. I wouldn't have collected him either. There. So yeah.
So you did collect him from school.
I did.
That's
only
still
because
me
I checked
on my
that
own
morning.
there.
If it hadn't been for the tracksuit, I wouldn't have picked him up. So it was going to be one or the other, you know.
We had going back to Home Alone. Home Alone features a lot in my life. We had a Home Alone moment again when my kids were younger, and I don't know if your children ever were in creche, and you know when you get from the minder, you get that, and you're going, oh Jesus, who have they hit? Who have they got into a wrestle with? Who have they brought to the ground in a fight over a sausage roll? What's happened here? Break it to me gently. And we were getting the summons over, and in we went, and they had to have a word with us because one of my children had said they were a bit concerned about what was being said at home, the sort of thing that he was, had been said, and maybe our parenting was possibly being called into question because my son went in and was talking about how he couldn't sleep, and he went into his parents' room. And he was told, I wouldn't let you sleep in my room if you were growing on my ass, which anybody who's seen Home Alone will know is a quote from Buzz.
Yeah.
But this hadn't registered, and they were thinking that we're talking to this kind of young child in such a way.
No.
So anyway, once we get over that, it was fun. But Home Alone, too many Christmas movies in my own life, and coming back to haunt me and bite me on the ass.
Yeah, literally.
That ass that he wouldn't be allowed into bed if that was the case. What would you say has been maybe the biggest lesson for you, maybe in parenthood? What's the thing that you've taken from it most? Or what would you advise somebody if somebody was coming along and they were starting out on their parenting journey, and you now with an 11 and 8 year old? Don't ask me. That's a good answer.
Don't ask. I haven't got a clue. I'm still winging it all the time. I don't really know.
That's the secret,
all the books. And they say that there's not even a book. There's about a million.
There's millions of books.
There's millions of books. But it's all. Every child is different.
Yeah.
Every parent is different. Every relationship is different. So you kind of have to literally just wing it as you go along, and do your best. Just do your best and love them as much as you can. Just give them lots and lots and lots of love, and hug them and tell them you love them as much as you can. That's what I do with mine all the time. Every night, put them to bed. And I always give them a hug and a kiss and say I love you every night. So and always come in a good mood, even if you're in a fuming mood in the morning. I'm not a morning person at all. I hate it. I can get up. And then I open up the curtains and go, morning, it's time to get up. And I'm like, just so that they
I'd say singing at them now.
And I say it in a nice way so that they're like, and then they're like, I'm so tired, and I'm like, it's okay, you can just just snooze along there for a bit. But I try and stay in a good mood to get them out because I know it will work.
And I'm just going to call you Mary Poppins. Do you know that? This is the thing that should be your new name. Yeah. Just your spoonful of medicine, sugar.
I think they might know that I'm like, but you just have to just do your best.
Yeah, I think that's it, isn't it? Do your best, wing it, hope for the best. And, and never say no. That would never happen. My kid would never do that. I think that's the thing along the way. That whole learning.
They all make mistakes and they do things, and you're going to have to give out to them as well. They're not perfect, but you just have to teach them in the best way you can. And
Una Healy, singer, businesswoman, and Mammy extraordinaire. Thank you so much for joining us. We did it. We did it. Electric picnic.
Thank you. And thank you so much.
Thanks everyone for coming along. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to Una Healy for taking the time to chat with me. I hope you've been enjoying the new season of the podcast. And don't forget, if there's a guest you'd love us to have on or a topic you'd love us to cover, please do get in touch. Details of how to are in the show notes on the show, or you can get in touch via aldi.ie/Mamia.